Hello, welcome. My name is McKenna. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Fresh Cinnamon. I'm going today to talk about sense of belonging, part 2. We already touched on part 1. I already spoke about that. If you haven't listened to that, just go back to the episodes in your preferred platform and you'll find it there. And I have put a disclaimer there because it touches on some sensitive topics such as bullying and suicide. So we already spoke about sense of belonging being very important, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and everyone wants to feel they belong. And the issue with that sometimes it's the timing. You want to fit in a certain group, a certain organization, a certain school, a certain business. You think your timing and the timing of this group you're trying to join will merge, but sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. One, because of personality differences, really. They might not understand you. For example, you might be this person who reacts to everything in a very casual way, and the group you're trying to fit in, they're very serious or they're very corporate minded. So I'm not saying that they lack a sense of humor, but in corporate world sometimes things are just go. There's no time for a little bit of play. So you want to check also the environment. As much as you want them to accept you for who you are, also understand the dynamics, understand the group dynamics of what you want to join, the organization you want to join. And I'm not saying you try and fake it, but you can adjust accordingly so that it'll be easier. Also remember, it's also difficult for them to accept somebody else different, someone new. Probably the organization you're joining or the group you're joining or the team you're joining had already formed and bonded and had a fantastic way of moving and working, and then they have to shift again to adjust to a new person who maybe could be their boss or something like that. So sometimes we also have to give this group or the other person we're trying to bond with some room to adjust to us and all the fabulousness we bring. And that really took me a long time to understand. I used to think, no, this group needs to see me as I am. This friend needs to see me as I am. And even in dating, I used to think, it should happen naturally. This person should take on to me. They should just understand I like things this way, blah, blah, blah. It's not possible because you're two different human beings. So you need room to actually understand each other, get to know each other. Some things are not by osmosis. It's not rocket science. It's not automatic that they'll get it. So as usual, my stories are how I try to explain what I feel and I've gone through. So when I moved to England, I just turned 17 and it was the hardest time. I remember I really did want to move to England, and it had taken my parents a whole year to convince me because they knew for a year that we could move, and I bless my parents for being those parents who don't force. They went with our pace, especially me and my twin brother. I don't know why we didn't want to come. Okay, I do know. It's just that I was tired of moving. I remember, again, I said we moved every 5 years. And I was now thinking we're moving to a different country. No, because I'd already figured out what I want to do, which university I want to go, because I was in high school at this point in Kenya. I'd set myself. And even though I had to adjust every time, I'm not really the best at adjusting with change, and especially big changes. I close. Sometimes I never used to understand this, but I used to shut down. Anyway, so I moved to England. It took me a long time. In fact, my brothers adjusted much quicker than I did. I remember I used to stay in my room. When I started going to school, I just left school, came to my room. Left school, came to my room. And my mom used to really get really worried, and she'd try and get us out, take us shopping or go different activities. I was just like, no. And it was hard for her because also living with teenagers, it's not an easy thing. Anyway, fast forward, I get a job, a corporate job basically, and this organization was really amazing. And then I find another job, and this job was godsend really when I think about it. So I had a career as advisor in school when I moved to England, and he used to tell me, you'd be great at this, and he came and told me, he did a home visit. Those who are careers advisors know what home visits are. And he was like, apply for this job, because this organization had been given an incentive to hire more people from the Black and ethnic minority. Back then, the company was not diverse at all. Like, it had probably 3 people from BME, and I had met most of them. So they had an incentive, and it wasn't, let's just say, it wasn't the most welcomed thing in the organization. In fact, one of the managers sat me aside when we first got inducted, and she was like, you'll be rough at first, and just to let you know, not everyone is happy about this new initiative our organization is trying, but go with it. And I'm glad she did, because she prepared me for the bumpy ride. So I was posted in an area where it's predominantly all white, and I remember my manager there, he left actually. He tried to, when he was leaving, bless his heart, he sat me down and was like, okay, in the south side of the city is more diverse, more welcoming of Black people, so I've talked to the manager there to move your position from here to there. And I said, why? I said, I fear if I leave here, you might not get the treatment you're supposed to get. And I don't know where this confidence came from. I said, if I leave, how will they know how to be around a Black person or how to work with a Black person? They also have to adjust, And I'm glad I stuck it out, because I made some of the most amazing friends. And I remember some of them, I think they kind of sensed what this manager was worried about, and they took it to their own initiative to incorporate me in many things. And I was so scared. First, I was the youngest in that region, the youngest. Of course, the only Black person. So whenever I used to go for meetings, I used to think, oh my God, I stand out like a sore thumb. And I'm glad for the experience, because it was the sandpaper that I needed in life. And it's the place, actually, I learned this mantra that as much as I want to be accepted for who I am because I'm different, or I'm the new person, I also have to give this group, this organization, the room to adjust for this new person. And for them also, there were some people who were not so glad about this initiative who are in my team, and I had to win them over. And sometimes after you watch someone, you learn something, you get to know the things that we have in common. Some of them was football, some of them was music, others was theater. So I was able to relate to them on that level, and it broke that ice. It broke that wall. So I want to advise people, especially if you're starting a new job or a new position, a new place, you want to really fit in, you want to have a sense of belonging, that's great. But also don't forget the group that you're going to join, the team that you're going to join. I have been together for a while, or they already know each other, or they've taken time also to form their dynamics. So give them time to know you, and that's why it's good to be you, be authentic as possible, because in that way they'll get to know the real you and incorporate you faster. Though I'm not saying that it's up to them to incorporate it, but let's be honest, in terms of group, there's always an alpha person there, so it will do you good if you're not impatient in the gelling process, so that they can understand also what you're bringing to the table, and they'll see, okay, actually it's now we know why this person was hired, now we know why this person is in this team, and all these things. I used to hate it, especially when group work in university. Oh my god, you have to do presentations with people who you don't know from Adam, you just like, oh god, and you've already probably built up perceptions. But if you give it time, you'll see, oh, there's a reason to the madness where the lecturer decided you and so should be in one group, and it works. You just have to be more flexible. Flexibility is important in belonging. It's not a one-way street. And for those who are already in the team, please give those who are joining an easier time. Probably the rituals of, for newbies and all this kind of things, but, just be kind and stand up for them if it gets really rocky. If there's somebody in the group that is a bit, off, be prepared to show them that is wrong. So my challenge to you is, if you're joining something new, especially after this pandemic, many of us might be starting new jobs or starting new businesses or entering a space where they have to fit in one way or another. Just be flexible. Okay? Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Crash Cinnamon. In the next topic, we'll look at about shared identity. Thank you.